I wish to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of the land from which I am addressing you. I pay my respects to them and their cultures, and their elders past, present and emerging. I acknowledge their continuing connection to the land, sea and community. Despite not being in Ottawa in person, I also wish to acknowledge and pay my respects to your First Nation on whose traditional and unceded territory this conference is being held. I am Anna Brakey, a Commissioner at the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, or ACCC. As part of our role as Australia's competition regulator, the ACCC is assisting in lowering the economic barriers to access to telecommunication services by promoting competition in the sector. The ACCC has commenced publishing a mobile infrastructure report to provide increased transparency of commercial investment made by Australian mobile operators. We are also working on improving the accuracy of the mobile coverage maps, which we hope will go some way to improving the quality of information made available to consumers about the extent of coverage. Government-funded co-contribution programs are a key driver of improved coverage in regional areas. They should have a clear objective to promote competition and maximise choice of providers. For instance, in Australia, the governments at all levels have developed co-contribution programs to incentivise private investment to improve mobile coverage in regional and rural areas. The ACCC considers that these programs should place equal weight on both extending coverage and improving competition. Outcomes where all end users and not just the subscribers of one network benefit from services delivered using government co-funded infrastructure will provide a better return on public investment. In Australia, there have been numerous co-contribution programs at both federal and state levels aimed at addressing mobile black spots and regional connectivity. In recent years, for example, the federal government's mobile black spot program has provided funding to build over 1,200 new base stations across Australia. Earlier rounds of the mobile black spot program provided for co-location or funded sites as a means to attract multiple mobile networks on the funded sites. However, the extent to which there was actually co-location on the funded sites has been limited. Only around 8% of active mobile sites funded under the program have more than one network operator operating on them. So while the program might have extended mobile coverage in many regional and remote communities, these improvements are only accessible by the subscribers of the successful applicants network rather than all end users. It is likely that the co-contribution model can be improved to better promote competition in rural and regional areas by adopting other models such as, firstly, an open access model where a mobile network operator awarded the funding is required to provide wholesale access to all mobile networks on the funded site. Secondly, a neutral host model where funding is awarded to a non-mobile network operator who can then provide wholesale services to all mobile operators. Or thirdly, an active sharing model where all mobile network operators collaborate and obtain funding on the basis that they will share the active infrastructure being deployed under the government co-contribution program. In Australia, co-contribution programs at both the federal and state levels are increasingly considering the neutral host and the other co-investment models. The Australian Minister for Communications, the Honourable Michelle Rowland MP, has committed to evolving the federal program to incorporate multi-carrier coverage, and has indicated that she will consult extensively on the appropriate models. However, Minister Rowland has pointed out that the barriers to these models appear to be not technical, but rather strategic and commercial, and we agree with this assessment. In summary, the absence of clear commercial incentives to invest and other incentives are likely necessary to ensure that regional Australia has the quality and breadth of telecommunication services necessary to meet its needs. Any government intervention must balance the net benefits of doing so against the universal service commitments and other social policy objectives. There is a concern in Australia as to the inadequacy of government programs supporting improved communication infrastructure in remote Indigenous communities. These communities are some of the most socially disadvantaged in the country, with poor or non-existent communications infrastructure. Common issues include no mobile coverage or intermittent coverage, insufficient capacity, uncertainty about the pace of technological upgrades, for example, 3G to 4G, and unreliable power supply and poor battery backup options. Connectivity and digital citizenship are a basic right in a growing information economy. This is increasingly important to enable both online and voice access to critical government services and banking, as well as information for employment, health, education, and other relevant content, such as social media. The ACCC understands that recognition comes through being informed. As a result, we are actively engaging with those living in remote communities through both the consultation process and our outreach activities. The extensive engagement that we have with a diverse network of Indigenous communities and organisations and our ongoing work to support these communities is critical to help us be better informed and understand the communication needs of Indigenous communities. As part of the regional mobile infrastructure consultation process, we're engaging with First Nations community through direct engagement with Indigenous stakeholders, Indigenous communities through our outreach program, and a dedicated Indigenous information line and consultation hub. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak here today and to be able to talk a little bit about what we're doing, and I wish you all the best with the rest of the conference.